Okie doke. Yeah, I'm kind of like in the middle of well, haven't done any of the combats for the German. Well, I actually haven't even made the moves for the German 03 September turn. It's over here. I just got all I've done so far is wrote down all the moves that I'm going to do for those guys. I did make a couple of mistakes on my force sheet counter. I think it was because over the weekend when I was screwing around, staring at them and stuff and playing around with my tweezers, I dropped my tweezers, knocked the freaking force sheets, bounced the counters all over Hell's Acres. Anyways, I mixed up the counters, so I was like, oh my gosh. Actually, I was surprised I didn't freak out as badly as I thought I would have, based on the amount of mess that I made. But anyway, so now I've decided I'm going to write it down on a second spot as well. So that way, for example here, I picked this thing up at the dollar store. This is like, there's just like a calendar thing. So I'm going to use that to write down as well. So that way I can record, you know, I've got a double place just in case something gets screwed up. But at least, so that I did screw up. I didn't know what to do with some of the German units. So I just put them in nice spots, like away, like they weren't automatically in a combat spot. And if I did want to put them into a combat spot, they would have had to use movement and that type of stuff. So that wasn't amazing things, just some cavalry and a couple of landwehr brigades, so not the end of the world. Now, before I go off to the Germans, though, I do kind of want to do a little quickie bit with the Russians, if I can remember everything. Maybe I should start off with the one I remember the easiest, and then I can go back to my notes later. So this one was due to the fact that, so I moved some of the Russian units from the 8th Army over to here, and so now these poor buggers, the Austrians are now surrounded in Czernowitz. And from what I'm going to read it again with the surrounding and the pocketing, but from what I can see, okay, and you can also see here that Czernowitz is a city center. So that's a urban terrain piece, the dark city one, the dark population area, housing area, whatever the hell you want to call it. I mean, the suburban's gray, urban's dark. But since it's in the center, it's considered a city center. So they would not have to, if I remember, would not have to retreat if they weren't surrounded, if that makes sense. But since they're surrounded, you know, bad things are going to happen to them anyways, because it's not a fortress. So the 8th Army did mount an attack on the guys in Czernowitz, but due to the fact that it is an urban, they are in urban terrain and with the forest, as you can see here, no hits. I mean, there's not like a ton of strength points there, but still no hits. The counterattack also is no hits, and of course they're completely unsupplied. I mean, you can see here everybody's been cut off here. And the poor 38th Infantry Division that were sent over to help them out, I don't know what in the world I was thinking. But I guess kind of like a bit of a macabre feel to it, and the fact that I know, like from when I was doing the 8th Army movements, I was like, well, I can take my time surrounding the 38th, so I'm not even going to attack them right away. I'm just going to take my time and kill them off that way. It's kind of gross to think that I can take my time to, must feel like a, I don't know, some kind of creature taking its time to, you know, about to swallow its prey or something. But so if the Austrians go first, because it'll be next turn and roll for initiative, I'm just going to automatically surrender. I don't think there's no point in trying to break out as the rule system states and all that stuff. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, hopefully I'll just put the blocks back here and you can bear with me. I haven't figured out how to do a pause with my digital camera and the videoing. I guess maybe I should start learning how to edit. I'm just too bloody... I don't know if it's a combination of laziness and time management issues or what, but haven't bothered looking into editing video and all that stuff, and just kind of like throwing it out there. I don't know, maybe over time I'll, 6 months from now I'll get better at it or something, or maybe when I get to the Grand Campaign. So what did we do here with the Third Army here? Hold on. Which combat was that? The 5th? I guess I'm going backwards. I guess that's one way of looking at it. Yep. So that was the 5th combat. So that was the Russian Third Army versus the Austrian Third Army. And the Austrians were defending in broken terrain. Yeah, it must have been these guys right here. Yeah, that's right. I want to get that bridge, I think. Yep. And that would have made sense. I would have been attacking all these dudes here. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because I think that was my objective as the Russian Third Army, is to secure that bridge over the Bug River and then slowly get to Lemberg. And what happened there? Well, the Russians were able to do 2 hits, and but the Third Army did counterattack, because they fully supplied the counterattack, and they inflicted 3 hits. So everybody stayed where they were. And if the yeah, it'll be interesting. I kind of just decided to abandon this whole thing for the Russians. It's like, okay, I'm just going to focus the attack on to get across the bridge and the left flank, and go from there and see how it see if it works out. Here was a good attack actually for the Russians, due to the fact that they've got hardly any supply points left, and that would have been the 4th combat. Yep, because that was the Russian 5th Army versus the Austrian 4th, and that was at 3005. So obviously I was able to push them back. And where did they go? They did 2 hits. They were forced to retreat, and they retreated to join battle group 6, which I guess is these guys. No. Here, there we go. So they withdrew. They retreated to here. The Austrians that were in there, and then the Russian 5th were able to advance a bit here, and that's nice, because the Austrians have just been, I mean, their September offensive has been fantastic as far as I'm concerned. They've run out of supply, but I think I mentioned, or no, I didn't actually mention, this was in this little thing I did mention in a previous video, that I decided to have a little bit of role-playing fun with the Austrians, in that I pretended they were sending 140 character or less radio bursts to Conrad, and he was doing it in return. And I was also thinking it would be kind of neat if you could maybe also use that type of 140 characters or less restriction, because when I was reading up on Twitter, I don't know much about all that stuff, that some languages in Twitter had their character restrictions raised to 280. So I thought that would be kind of neat if you're ever going to do some kind of, I don't know, double-blind game system, or have some kind of game ref system where you could send orders out, and based on if your army had a better command and control system, maybe you're allowed to send orders with the 280 characters, and the other guys that have poorer command and control things going on are only allowed to do 140 or something. I thought that would be kind of neat. So yeah, I'm surprised that the Russian 5th were able to actually push a little bit out here, but I think they're plunk out now. But at least they didn't have these Austrians kind of sticking out like a sore thumb about here, so at least they're a bit flush. Yeah, the Russian 9th Army, I don't think we did any attacks. It wouldn't make sense, I don't think. No. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. I think, yeah, we just fell back here. However, we didn't do it yet. But the Russian 4th Army has finally made their move. So they were over here and finally used the rail to bring as many forces as close as possible to Krakow. And now they're just going to get ready. I think next Russian turn they'll have enough forces. I think I could have done like a rinky-dink little attack right now against Krakow, but I was like, God, what's the point? And I brought a couple of the forces over here to kind of try to take out the rail lines to and from Tarnow as well as Katowice. So I think that would be an interesting thing. And I think that was about it. And the Russians also did, we did an attack here. And I think I did mention in a previous video about my, counting my chickens before they hatch thing that didn't work out nowhere near as enough. On a side note, talking about lines of supply and supply points and cutting off lines of supply and so on and so forth. The game upstairs that I just finished playing with Rob, The World Undone Galicia, that's essentially how I won the game. In the end, we had this huge, long line. I think actually either along the Virps or the Bug River. I have to go and check. But we were both basically trying to get who was going to get around either flank first and try to start rolling up the flanks. But I gave up on that tactic because it was just driving me up the tree. I just couldn't, even though I had more forces. So what I ended up doing was I cut off his lines of supply all to his whole line along this, along that big crescent of figures, and took a risk by hopping one of my units across the river that he had left a gap in. And once I cut off his lines of supply, his combat strengths were basically halved, and I just ate him alive. And we called the game after that turn. It was, that was pretty dramatic. Okay, and that's about it. And then I think my next turn, because this one's going to be, I seem to be babbling quite a bit, will be the chit-chat about how I'm going to go about going here. I mean, up north, like I said, I better just shut up and I'll leave the Germans as a separate video. But I hope to goodness I did this whole surrounded bit right in the pocketing bit. So next Austrian turn, because as far as I know it was like friendly movement phase, so they'd be eliminated in the pocketing next if they didn't. But anyways, I'm just going to surrender, and the Russians will get a ton of demoralization points. Speaking of which, I may say that the Russians are doing not a very good job, and the Germans have slammed them, made a big stop on them, as they were getting towards Königsberg. The issue is, though, all these Russian units in East Prussia are just accumulating a huge amount of demoralization points for Germany, massive. And when I start looking at the points right now, Russia's got 126, Austria-Hungary 83, and Germany 130. So if the game was called right now, it would be considered a massive Russian success. It's the way it goes, even though I look at it and the Russian Second Army are in deep, deep trouble. I just don't know what in the world to do with them. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of try to dig in and stay north of Warsaw, but what a mess. There's no bloody way they're going to Allenstein. Okay, that's it.